Right now, whether you realize it or not, you are influencing the world around you. Not metaphorically, not wishfully, literally. There is an unseen system, a silent intelligence that listens and responds to every thought you think, every feeling you hold, and every belief you repeat. And this system does not sleep. You were not taught about it in school. It does not show up in traditional science books. But it exists, and it is shaping your reality moment by moment. From the quiet corners of ancient mysticism to the bold frontiers of quantum physics, one truth continues to surface again and again. Your inner world is not separate from your outer world. Your thoughts are not sealed inside your skull. They are waves, pulses, instructions being whispered into the fabric of reality. And the universe, it listens. Let us strip away the noise. Because underneath your doubts and distractions is something profound, a subtle force running through everything. A blueprint made not of matter but of frequency, of intention, of attention. When you hold a thought long enough, when it is emotionally charged and consistently repeated, it does not just stay in your mind. It ripples, it echoes, and eventually it bends the world around you. This is not just spiritual poetry, it is backed by the strange laws of quantum mechanics. We now know that reality does not behave in fixed ways. Particles can exist in multiple states, until observed. And when they are observed, they choose. They collapse into a single reality. But who is doing the observing? You are. And not just with your eyes, with your mind, your energy, your focus. This is the invisible force behind your reality, conscious attention. Where you place it determines what becomes real. Where you withdraw it, reality dissolves. So when you are focused on fear, limitation, and lack, life reflects it back. When you are attuned to joy, vision, and possibility, life expands in that direction. This is not magic. It is alignment. It is resonance. Your body is an electrical being. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field stronger than any other organ. Your brain is a pattern generator, constantly firing frequencies into the field. Together, they form a signal. And that signal speaks to the universe, not in words, but in vibration. So ask yourself this. What if your next thought was already designing your future? Not tomorrow, not in 5 years. But now, in this very moment, that shift you have been waiting for, it is not outside you. It is not hidden in some technique or affirmation. It is already inside, waiting for you to tune to it. And the most profound part, you have been using this system your whole life, without realizing it. Every synchronicity, every repeated struggle, every lucky break, all of them echoes of your signal. Now imagine what happens when you become aware of it. When you stop reacting to reality and start shaping it. But to do that, to truly understand the mechanism behind this invisible force, we must look deeper. Deeper into the science. Deeper into the mystery. Because modern research has finally caught up with what ancient sages always knew. Thought becomes matter. Energy follows focus. You are not separate from what you create. And so, to understand how this force works, we need to look at what modern science says about thought, energy, and physical matter. The idea that your thoughts shape your reality might sound like a poetic metaphor, but it is far more than that. Science is beginning to confirm what mystics, sages, and visionaries have long intuited. Your mind is not a passive observer, it is a creative interface with the field of possibility. Let us start with quantum physics, the science of the very small. At the subatomic level, particles do not behave like solid objects. They behave like waves of potential. They can exist in multiple states, multiple possibilities, at once, until something, or someone, observes them. This is called the observer effect. It is one of the strangest and most revolutionary discoveries in modern physics. It shows that the act of observation collapses a wave of probabilities into a single reality. In simple terms, without observation there is no fixed outcome. But once observed, once focused upon, reality takes form. And this is not just an abstract theory. It has been demonstrated in experiments again and again. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles behave like waves when unobserved. But the moment they are observed, they behave like particles, choosing a single path. But what is observation really? Is it just looking through your eyes? Or is it more subtle, like where your attention goes, where your awareness lands, what your mind stays fixated on? This is where science meets you, personally. Because your brain is not just a thinking machine. It is an electrical pattern generator. It emits frequencies. It creates brainwaves, measurable fields of energy that extend beyond your skull. And your heart, perhaps even more profoundly, produces a magnetic field that radiates feet beyond your body. It responds to your emotions, your intentions, your coherence. These fields interact with the world around you. You are not just in the universe, you are communicating with it. Neuroscience tells us something equally astonishing. Your brain can rewire itself based on focused thought. This is called neuroplasticity. Every time you repeat a thought, especially when charged with emotion, you strengthen neural pathways. You sculpt your brain like clay. Your repeated inner state becomes your default outer experience. When you think something often enough and feel it deeply enough, your body begins to believe it is already true, and the subconscious begins to act on it. But the real shift happens when the mind and body sync, when your conscious thoughts align with subconscious patterns. This creates coherence, a kind of inner harmony that transmits a clear signal outward. The HeartMath Institute has studied this extensively. They found that emotional states like gratitude, love, and compassion create measurable coherence in the heart's rhythm, and this coherence enhances the brain's clarity, function, and signal strength. You become a transmitter, a beacon, a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency, calling in realities that match. Now consider this. If focused thought changes your brain, and emotional coherence strengthens your energetic field, and the act of observation collapses possibility into form, then what you consistently think, feel, and focus on becomes the blueprint for what you experience. You are not creating reality with a single passing thought. You are doing it with sustained attention, with repetition, with energetic consistency. This is why it is not enough to say an affirmation once and expect change. It is about state, not just sentences. So if you are thinking abundance but feeling lack, if you are visualizing success but unconsciously expecting failure, your signal is scrambled, and reality mirrors that distortion. But when you align thought, emotion, and expectation, when you observe with clarity, and when your inner world becomes coherent, reality responds. This is what the new science is pointing toward. That we're not just shaped by the world, we are shaping it. Not through willpower alone, but through resonance, through alignment. And so, the evidence is building. Consciousness is not just a byproduct of the brain. It may be a field, a connective matrix that surrounds and permeates all things. And your awareness? It is like a cursor in that field. Where you place it shapes what loads. But despite all this, there is still a mystery, a missing piece. Because even with all this knowledge, even when people meditate, visualize, affirm, their realities do not always shift. Why? Because there is something else at play, a deeper mechanism. One that determines when a thought becomes matter and when it does not. Something like a switch, hidden inside you. And to understand that switch, we have to go deeper into the vibrational nature of thought, emotion, and belief. There is a reason your thoughts do not always manifest. A reason some desires come alive effortlessly, while others seem to hit a wall. And it is not luck. It is not timing. It is something deeper, something almost no one talks about. A hidden switch. Not a physical switch. Not something you flip with your hand, but a vibrational threshold within you. A precise internal state that decides whether your thought remains a possibility or collapses into physical form. You have felt this switch before, even if you could not name it. You have had moments where an idea suddenly felt magnetic, charged, like it had weight. It wasn't just a thought anymore. It became a knowing. And sure enough, life responded. Things moved. Coincidences appeared. People showed up. That is the switch in action. But what activates it? Not thought alone. Not even focused attention by itself. The switch turns on only when three forces converge: belief, emotion, and energetic coherence. Let us break that down. Belief is the cognitive blueprint. It is what your mind accepts as possible, or more importantly, what it expects. You can say, "I believe I shall succeed," but if deep down you are waiting to fail, the switch stays off. Belief is not what you say. It is the silent assumption running in the background. It is the script you do not even realize you are following. Next is emotion. Emotion is the amplifier. It energizes thought. It adds frequency, depth, magnetism. Without emotion, your thought is like a signal without power. It is there, but it does not carry far. The stronger the emotion, especially elevated states like love, certainty, gratitude, the more powerful the transmission. And then comes energetic coherence. This is the synchrony between your heart and mind. When your thoughts and emotions are in agreement, your body becomes a resonant field. That is coherence. And coherence is the doorway. When belief aligns with elevated emotion, and when that state is consistent and embodied, the switch turns on. Reality begins to mold itself accordingly. But the opposite is also true. You can think positive all day, but if your emotions contradict it, or your belief undercuts it, nothing moves. The switch does not activate. This explains why so many people feel stuck. They are putting in effort. They are visualizing, affirming, meditating. But it is scattered, misaligned, incoherent. Their signal is not clear enough to influence the field. Have you ever noticed how certain thoughts feel realer? They hit different. They move something inside you. They feel like truth. That is coherence. That is power. Other thoughts, they pass like clouds. No impact, no emotion, no coherence, and therefore no result. The hidden switch is not about effort. It is about resonance. It is about entering a state where your mind, heart, and energy speak the same language. And when that happens, even briefly, reality listens. This is not mystical exaggeration. It is energetic alignment. And it is backed by both ancient wisdom and modern measurement. HeartMath researchers have tracked this state using HRV heart rate variability to show how coherence can be physically detected. Brain scans show that during deep meditative coherence, gamma wave activity spikes, the brain becomes highly synchronized. So yes, this switch is real. And most importantly, it is repeatable. But it is not turned on by chance. It is activated by inner clarity, by knowing what you desire, feeling it deeply, and expecting it as your natural outcome. So the next time you sit with a desire, do not just think about it. Ask yourself, do I believe this is possible? Am I feeling it in my body? Are my thoughts and emotions speaking in harmony? Because when all three say yes, the signal becomes undeniable. The field responds. And what was once just a thought begins to become real. Let us now explore how this vibrational switch connects directly to the process of manifestation, through a powerful bridge that links your inner observation to outer outcome. Every moment, you are standing at the edge of infinite possibility, but not every possibility becomes real. Only one version of reality takes shape. And the question is, what determines which version you step into? The answer lives in the gap. The space between intention and manifestation. Between the thought and the thing. This is the quantum bridge, where unseen becomes seen, where possibility becomes experience. Let us slow this down. When you hold a thought, you are not simply daydreaming. You are focusing energy. You are directing your awareness toward a specific outcome, a unique arrangement of energy that does not yet exist, but could. This is what physicists refer to as a probability wave. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in multiple states at once, a concept called superposition. But when you observe a particle, truly focus on it, it collapses into a single defined state. That collapse is reality choosing, not randomly, but in response to observation. Now here is the spiritual truth that science is just beginning to touch. Your consciousness is the observer. You are not watching reality happen. You are helping decide which version happens. This moment right now is the result of every observation, expectation, and emotional imprint you have made up until now. Every thought you have repeated, every feeling you have rehearsed, has walked you across a bridge, from what was possible to what is. But what actually makes you cross that bridge? It is not intention alone. It is not just wanting. It is alignment between your focus, your emotion, and the field you are broadcasting to. When you set an intention with clarity, when you feel the outcome as if it already exists, and when you let go of the need to control how it shows up, you step onto the bridge. And that bridge is not made of time. It is made of frequency. In that space between your desire and its physical form, you are in communication with the field. You are influencing probability, shaping potential into experience. And yet, this space, this in-between, is where most people get lost. They get impatient. They doubt. They slip into the old self, the one who needs proof before belief. And in doing so, they step off the bridge, back into the old reality. But when you trust the process, when you hold your frequency, no matter what your senses tell you, you stay in the field of becoming, and the field begins to organize around your vibration. This is how manifestation works at the quantum level. It is not just cause and effect. It is selection, guided by your state of being. Your attention is the pointer. Your emotion is the current. Your belief is the code. Together they form the bridge. And every day, with every moment of awareness, you are either crossing that bridge or standing still, waiting for something outside of you to change first. But here is the truth. The change begins inside you. The moment you embody the version of you who already has it, already lives it, already feels it, reality starts to catch up. Every second you are standing at the edge of potential. Are you choosing to step through? Because on the other side of that bridge is the reality you have been waiting for. And to truly walk that bridge, to activate it fully, you must understand what powers it most. Emotion. You have heard the phrase, thoughts become things. But here is what most people miss. Thoughts do not create reality on their own. Emotion does the heavy lifting. Think of thought as the blueprint, the idea, the structure. But emotion is the electricity that lights it up. It is the current that energizes the signal you are sending into the field. Without emotion, a thought is just static. With the wrong emotion, the signal becomes distorted. But with the right emotion, elevated, coherent, embodied, the thought becomes magnetic. This is not metaphor. It is measurable. The HeartMath Institute has shown us that your heart produces an electromagnetic field that extends several feet outside your body. This field responds instantly to your emotional state. When you are feeling gratitude, love, appreciation, your heart rhythms become smooth and ordered. That is coherence. And coherence matters. Because when your heart and brain are in sync, you are not just feeling better, you are broadcasting more powerfully. You are radiating a clean, strong, harmonic frequency into the quantum field, a frequency that aligns with creation, not confusion. Let us break this down practically. Imagine two people thinking about abundance. One says the words, "I am wealthy," but feels doubt, fear, and resistance underneath. Their emotional signature is incoherent. Their field is weak. The blueprint exists, but the energy to build it is not there. The second person feels deeply grateful, not for something they already have, but for the feeling of receiving. They visualize abundance, and their body responds with warmth, joy, anticipation. Their thoughts and emotions are aligned. Their signal is strong. The field responds. Emotion is what tells the universe you mean it. This is why people get inconsistent results with manifestation. They think clearly, but feel oppositely. They set intentions, but carry anxiety. They visualize success, but expect failure. And so the field receives a mixed message and delivers a mixed result. But here is the good news. You can train your emotional energy. You can learn to feel ahead of the evidence, to embody the emotion of your desired reality before it shows up. This is what spiritual traditions have taught for centuries. And now, science is confirming it. When you combine focused thought with elevated emotion, you create a state change. Your nervous system shifts. Your heart rhythm improves. Your brain enters a more harmonious pattern, and your entire being begins to resonate with the outcome you have chosen. That resonance is the signal, and the field, by its very nature, responds to frequency. So if you want to manifest love, do not wait to feel loved. Feel it now. Generate it. Radiate it. If you want abundance, do not wait for the money to appear before you feel safe. Feel the safety first. Feel the joy, the freedom, and your body will begin to shift. This is how you imprint your desires into the field, by becoming the emotional signature of what you seek. Remember, it is not just what you think, it is how you feel it that activates reality. Feel it consistently. Feel it clearly. Feel it fully. Because when your emotions match your intentions, the switch turns on. The signal is clean. And the field, like a mirror, reflects it all back. Now let us go even deeper. Let us explore how your brainwaves, those silent rhythms of thought, play a powerful role in accessing this inner switch and influencing the world around you. Inside your skull, your brain is alive with electrical activity. Billions of neurons firing, syncing, communicating. Not randomly, but in patterns. These patterns are called brainwaves, and they hold the key to how you access and influence reality. Each brainwave state has a specific frequency. Each state, a different doorway into your consciousness. And depending on which state you are in, your ability to align with your intentions and activate the hidden switch changes dramatically. Let us begin with the waking state, beta. This is where you spend most of your day. Focused, alert, planning, thinking. Beta is useful. It helps you get things done. But it is also noisy. In high beta, stress, worry, and overthinking dominate. Now enter alpha, a slower, calmer state. This is where you go during light meditation, deep relaxation, or when you are daydreaming. Alpha is the bridge between conscious thinking and subconscious access. In this state, your inner world becomes more vivid. You are still aware, but more open, more suggestible. This is where imagination begins to plant seeds. Go deeper still, and you reach theta. Theta is the frequency of deep meditation, the edge of sleep, the dream state. This is where powerful change happens. Why? Because in theta, the critical mind relaxes. The subconscious opens. And in this space, new beliefs can be programmed. Emotions can be repatterned. Intentions can sink in and take root. Now imagine you align a clear intention with a vivid emotional charge. While in this deeply receptive state, You are no longer just visualizing. You are rewriting your internal architecture. You are communicating directly with the field, from the inside out. But there is an even more advanced state, gamma. Gamma brainwaves are fast, high frequency, and incredibly synchronized. They are rare but powerful. They appear during states of heightened awareness, peak spiritual experiences, deep gratitude and awe. In gamma, your brain is firing in coherence. All regions are working together harmoniously. This is when people report sensations of unity, timelessness, deep connection to something greater. And this is when manifestation becomes almost effortless, because there is no resistance, no separation. You are fully tuned. This is not theory. Studies on advanced meditators show spikes in gamma activity during profound moments of inner alignment. Their heart and brain rhythms sync. Their bodies shift into healing. Their minds enter expanded states. So the question becomes, when was the last time you felt deeply aligned, as if the universe was listening? Not just thinking about what you want, but being in the frequency of it. Because these brainwave states are not out of reach. You can train them. You can cultivate them. Meditation is one of the most direct tools. Breathwork, visualization, and heart-focused practices also guide your brain into deeper states. Even spending time in nature, listening to certain frequencies, or entering flow states through creative work, all of these shift your brain waves. Why does this matter? Because when your brain waves slow down, your resistance drops. Your inner world becomes more vivid. And the subconscious, the part of you that runs 95% of your behavior, becomes accessible. It is here that you can rewrite the old programs. It is here that you can install new beliefs. It is here that you activate the switch, not just mentally but energetically. Your consciousness is not static. It moves in rhythm. And when you learn to ride that rhythm, to access the right state, at the right time, you gain access to the deeper layers of creation. But brainwaves alone are not enough. Because even in a deep meditative state, if your subconscious is running the wrong script, if your inner programming is built on lack, fear, or limitation, then the switch stays off. To truly activate it, you must understand the silent force that shapes your signal to your default program. Beneath every conscious intention, beneath every goal you set or affirmation you repeat, lies a deeper force, the default program. It is not what you want. It is what you expect. What you believe when no one is watching. What you feel when the world goes quiet. Your default program is the silent script playing in the background of your life. And whether you are aware of it or not, it is constantly shaping your reality. Think of it like this. Your conscious mind is the captain, setting the course, speaking the commands. But your subconscious is the engine room. And if the engine is programmed for something else, if it is still running an outdated map, then the ship will always drift back to what feels familiar. This is why change often feels so hard. You try to move forward, but something inside pulls you back. You speak abundance, but keep repeating lack. You visualize love, but push it away. That something inside is the default program, and it gets installed early, through repetition, trauma, environment, culture, and emotion. By age 7, your subconscious is mostly formed. You have absorbed messages about who you are, what you deserve, and what the world is like. And unless you consciously reprogram it, those messages become your energetic default. It is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Because your subconscious is always sending out a signal. Always shaping the electromagnetic field around you, always interacting with possibility. You might think, I want success. But if your default says, success is unsafe, or I am not worthy of it, then your energy carries a contradiction, and reality reflects that contradiction. Energy does not lie. You cannot fake coherence. The field responds to who you are, not just what you say. So how do you know what your default program is? Look at your patterns. Look at what keeps repeating. Not just the circumstances, but the emotions that show up again and again. Are you often anxious, even when things go well? Do you expect disappointment, even while hoping for more? Do you resist joy because it feels unfamiliar? These are clues. They point to the program running underneath. Ask yourself, what am I unconsciously affirming every day, and is it what I want? Because here is the truth. You are always affirming something. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you indulge, is an affirmation, either of the old reality or the one you are stepping into. And the subconscious does not care what is true. It only cares what is repeated, what is emotionally charged, what you believe with feeling. So to change your life, you do not need to fight your old program. You need to install a new one that feels natural, safe, familiar. That is where the switch lives, not in fighting your mind, but in retraining it. Not in resisting what is, but in rehearsing what could be. Because once your default changes, your signal changes, your expectations change, and the field, like a faithful mirror, reflects that shift. The thoughts you used to force start to feel natural. The emotions you had to fake begin to rise on their own. Reality softens, opportunities appear. Not because the world changed, but because you did. But how exactly do you flip that switch? How do you rewire your inner system and activate the new program? It happens through a powerful, intentional process. A three-layered inner shift designed to realign your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the future you desire. And that process begins now. If the switch between thought and reality is not activated by wishing, if it is not triggered by surface-level repetition, then how do you turn it on? How do you consciously cross the threshold from possibility into form? It begins with a three-layered inner process, a simple yet powerful sequence that brings your mind, heart, and energy into alignment. Each layer builds upon the next. Each one deepens your signal. Together they initiate transformation at the root. Layer 1. Thought alignment. This is the intellectual foundation, the clarity of vision. Most people never move past vague desires. They want abundance, freedom, healing, but they cannot define what that actually looks like, feels like, lives like. Thought alignment means specificity. It means deciding, not hoping. It is no longer saying, I wish for this, but this is who I am becoming. You craft the thought with care. You see the outcome clearly. You create a mental blueprint, vivid, exact, and emotionally anchored. And most importantly, you believe it is possible, even if just for a moment, even if it feels like a stretch. Your brain responds to repetition. When you keep feeding it the same intentional, specific image, it begins to rewire. Neural pathways strengthen. The subconscious begins to accept this new version as familiar, and familiarity is the key to belief. Layer 2. Emotional elevation. A thought without feeling is static. But when you add elevated emotion, gratitude, love, joy, awe, the energy expands. This is when your signal becomes magnetic. Your heart's electromagnetic field begins to pulse in harmony. Your body shifts out of survival mode. You move into a space where creation flows, not from force, but from frequency. This is not about pretending to be happy. It is about finding one genuine feeling that matches your desired state and amplifying it. Feeling as if it is already here. Not to fool the universe, but to speak its language. When your thoughts and emotions match, coherence is born. And coherence is the signature of alignment. It tells the field, I am ready. Even just a few minutes in this state creates a measurable shift. Your brain waves synchronize. Your heart rhythm smooths. You become a vessel of focused energy. And with enough repetition, this elevated state becomes your new normal. The switch starts to flicker. But one more layer is needed to lock it in. Layer 3, quantum surrender. This is where most people hesitate. They've aligned the thought. They've generated the emotion. But they try to control the outcome, the timing, the method, the details. Control is resistance in disguise. It says, I do not trust the process. And in the field of infinite intelligence, lack of trust is a weak signal. Surrender is not giving up. It is letting go of attachment. It is stepping into the unknown with certainty. It is acting as if what you desire is inevitable and no longer needing to chase it. Quantum surrender is about releasing the how and resting in the who. Who are you becoming? What version of you already lives this reality? Become that. Feel that. Return to that. Again and again. And the moment you stop checking, stop doubting, stop looking for signs, the field responds. Not because you forced it, but because your vibration became undeniable. This is the paradox. The less you need it, the faster it comes. Because you have already become the person who has it. Let us bring it all together now. You begin with thought alignment. Decide who you are becoming. You amplify it through emotional elevation. Feel it before it is real. And you complete it with quantum surrender. Trust the field to deliver in its perfect way. This is how you activate the switch. Not once, not briefly, but consistently, intentionally, devotionally. Repetition is your ally. Emotion is your fuel. Trust is your gateway. Say it with me now. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. Again. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. One more time. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. Let those words settle in your nervous system. Let them reprogram your frequency. Because now, the switch is no longer theoretical. It is real. It is alive. And it is responding to you. But to truly understand what happens when the switch flips, to see how possibility crystallizes into reality, we need to look at the very moment reality takes form. That moment is next. Reality as you know it is not as fixed as it seems. What appears solid, permanent and predictable is, at its core, a sea of vibrating energy. Beneath every object, every moment, every experience, is possibility. And in the quantum world, possibility is not poetic, it is literal. Particles exist in multiple potential states simultaneously. They are not this or that. They are this and that. Until something shifts. Until observation occurs. That moment, the instant when a particle goes from maybe to actual, is called wave function collapse. A wave of probabilities becomes a single outcome. Reality quite literally chooses. But who, or what, does the choosing? Your consciousness. Your focused attention. Your state of being. Every time you hold a thought long enough, charge it emotionally, align it with belief, and surrender the need to control it. You initiate that collapse. You influence which version of reality comes into form, not through force, but through frequency, through alignment. It is as if you are standing in front of a quantum mirror. The field is holding infinite versions of your life, but it reflects the one you are being, not the one you are hoping for, not the one you are wishing into existence, but the one your signal matches. This is why people who carry fear, doubt and lack, even while doing the right things on the surface, still find themselves repeating the same cycles, because their core vibration has not changed. They are still tuned to an old version of self. And so the field obliges. But when you activate the switch, when your thoughts, emotions and expectations move into coherence, the field locks onto your frequency. It begins to collapse around your choice. This is when you start noticing synchronicities. The right person appears. An idea lands out of nowhere. A door opens that logic cannot explain. It is not random. It is a response. The field is intelligent. It organizes itself in direct relationship to your signal. And when your signal is clear, elevated, and consistent, reality has no choice but to mirror it back. But let us be clear. This collapse into form is not about instant gratification. It is not about manifesting a car, a house, or a title overnight. It is about becoming the version of you who lives in that reality, and letting reality reorganize in response to that identity. You are not just creating experiences. You are embodying a new self. And from that self, a new world unfolds. This is the true shift. Not changing the outside to feel different inside, but changing the inside and letting the outside recalibrate. It begins with subtle changes. New thoughts feel more natural. Old doubts begin to fade. Your body relaxes into trust. And before long, things that once felt far away feel close. And then they arrive, not as surprises, but as reflections of who you have become. You are not reacting to reality, you are selecting it. Moment by moment, collapse by collapse, choice by choice. So ask yourself now, what reality are you currently tuned to? Is it the one you want, or the one you have unconsciously settled for? Because the switch is active, the field is listening, and every thought you energize, every feeling you embody, every belief you reinforce, shapes the version of reality that appears next. But what happens when you are misaligned? When the switch is off, and reality reflects confusion, resistance, or stagnation? That is where we go next. Because recognizing misalignment is the first step to returning to power. Sometimes, despite all your effort, nothing moves. No shift, no breakthrough, just repetition, the same problems, the same patterns, the same emotional noise. That is the signal. Not of failure, but of misalignment. When the switch is off, reality feels heavy. Your thoughts lose momentum. Your desires feel distant. And the world around you mirrors confusion, not clarity. But here is the truth. Misalignment is not punishment. It is feedback. It is the field whispering, you have stepped out of coherence. It is showing you what is still unresolved, what is still being rehearsed beneath the surface. So what are the signs? You feel resistance, like you are pushing through mud. You try to make things happen, but the energy is not there. You notice recurring frustrations, the same conversations, the same missed opportunities. And emotionally, you feel dull, disconnected. Like your fire is flickering instead of burning bright. These are not random. They are the echo of your current frequency. They are revealing the gap between who you are being and who you are trying to become. But awareness is power. Because once you recognize you are out of alignment, you can return, quickly, gently, consciously. And it does not require a full breakdown or a perfect morning routine. It just requires presence. A pause, a breath. Misalignment is often the result of slipping back into old emotional loops. Fear, doubt, lack, patterns your nervous system learned to cling to. But the moment you become aware, you create space. Space to choose again, space to shift. Ask yourself, where am I forcing, and where can I feel instead? Where am I holding on, and where can I let go? Sometimes the shift is as simple as stepping outside and feeling the sun, breathing deeply into your heart, remembering who you were before the noise. Realignment is not about fixing. It is about returning. Returning to clarity. Returning to feeling. Returning to the version of you who already lives the life you desire. That version is never far. It is always accessible, just beneath the static. And the fastest way back is through simplicity, gratitude, stillness, reconnection to breath, to body, to being. From there, the signal clears. The switch flickers back on. The field begins to respond, not to your effort, but to your energy. So next time things feel stuck, do not push harder. Get still. Get present. And remember, the universe does not need pressure. It needs coherence. And nothing restores coherence like truth. Your truth. Felt. Heard. Embodied. Now let us ground all of this by witnessing what happens when the switch is activated and how lives have transformed because of it. Sometimes the best way to understand a concept is to see it in motion, to witness how theory becomes transformation. Because this is not just about ideas, it is about lived experience. And when the switch is activated, the results can feel like magic. But they are not. They are mirrors of alignment. Let us begin with Sarah. For years, she struggled with chronic scarcity. No matter how hard she worked, money slipped through her fingers. She tried affirmations, she tried budgeting. But the energy did not shift until something inside her did. One morning, after months of meditation and deep emotional healing, Sarah stopped trying to get rich. Instead, she focused on becoming someone who felt safe receiving. She visualized abundance not as money, but as freedom. She walked with it, breathed with it, and for the first time she felt wealthy without needing proof. Within weeks she landed a client that tripled her income. Within months she was turning away work. She did not earn her shift, she became it. The switch flipped, not when she chased, but when she aligned. Then there is Leo. Leo had lived with deep anxiety for most of his adult life. He constantly visualized calm, tried every technique, but nothing lasted. Until one moment during a guided meditation, he stopped trying to fix himself. He stopped needing to feel better. He surrendered. And in that moment, with tears streaming down his face, something clicked. A memory surfaced. A belief dissolved. And a peace he hadn't felt in decades settled in his chest. That evening, he wrote in his journal, "I did not heal my anxiety. I just stopped being the version of me that needed it." From that day forward, his energy changed. Conversations felt lighter. Sleep returned. And the world around him softened to match. He did not force it. He shifted. And reality followed. Or take Nadia, a scientist who had always approached life through logic. She stumbled into this work out of frustration. She did not believe in energy, in alignment, in manifestation, until she started tracking her emotions alongside her outcomes. And the data shocked her. Every time she entered a state of joy, genuine, heart-led joy, emails came in, opportunities unfolded, ideas flowed. But when she overthought, doubted, or tried to control the outcome, everything stalled. She now teaches students how emotion influences cognition, how brain chemistry, heart coherence, and intention combine to shape perception and behavior. She calls it conscious causality, because that is what this really is, a shift in cause, from external effort to internal energy, from reaction to creation. And this is not rare. It happens every day to people you pass on the street. Mothers rebuilding their lives. Teenagers rewriting their stories. Leaders learning to lead from love instead of fear. The field does not discriminate. It responds only to frequency, to coherence, to truth. And the moment you match the vibration of what you seek, reality begins to reorganize. If they could do it, so can you. The same system is working through you, for you, around you. Right now, you are not waiting for permission. You are not hoping for luck. You are tuning your signal. You are activating your switch. So now, let us bring all of this together. Not through more thinking, but through a direct experience. Let us go inward. Let us activate it, right now, from the inside out. Close your eyes, not just to block out the world, but to open up to the one within. Take a slow breath in and exhale. Let us begin. You are not watching this video by accident. You are here because something in you is ready. Ready to remember. Ready to realign. Ready to activate the switch. Not someday, but now. Bring your attention to the space between your eyes. The center of awareness. Let it soften. Let it open. Now drop into your heart. Feel the beat. Feel the rhythm. This is not just a biological pump. It is your field generator. The very center of coherence. Take another breath. And as you do, imagine breathing directly into your heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale again, but this time, imagine you are breathing in light. A soft golden light that begins to fill your chest. With every breath, this light expands. Down your arms, into your fingers. Up your neck, into your head. Through your spine, your legs, all the way to your feet. Now bring to mind a vision. Not just any vision, your vision. The version of you who has already stepped into the life you desire. See it. Feel it. Where are you? What do you look like? How do you move? How do you breathe? You do not need to try hard. Let the image arise naturally, like a memory from the future. Let it be simple, a feeling, a flash, a symbol. Now, as you hold that image, bring in the feeling. Gratitude. Joy, freedom, confidence. Whatever emotion matches the reality you just saw, bring it into your body. Let it rise. Let it grow. Feel it in your chest, in your fingertips, in the space around you. Repeat these words softly in your mind. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. Again. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. One more time, with breath, with meaning. I align. I feel. I trust. I activate. Now let go of the image. Let go of the words. Let go of trying. Just sit in the energy. Breathe in it. Float in it. You are in the field now. No separation. No seeking. Only being. This is the switch in action. This is what it feels like when thought, emotion, and energy converge. It may feel subtle, like a soft hum, or powerful, like a wave. There is no right way to experience it. What matters is that you did experience it. You became it. Even for just a moment, that moment left a mark on the field. It shifted something in your signal. And now, reality has no choice but to respond. Bring your awareness back to the body. Wiggle your fingers. Notice the air on your skin. Hear the sounds around you. And when you are ready, open your eyes. You are not who you were 10 minutes ago. You are carrying a new frequency now. And if you return to this space often, even for a few minutes each day, you will train your system to live from it. Because activation is not a one-time event. It is a daily alignment, a practice of becoming, again and again until that version of you is no longer a vision, but a reality. Now that you have felt the shift, it is time to understand why it works so consistently. Why the external world cannot help but reflect back the signal you carry. To understand that, we must look at the quantum mirror. The truth that your reality is simply you reflected. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You raise your hand. The reflection follows. You smile. It smiles back. You frown. It frowns. You do not argue with the mirror. You do not wait for the reflection to change first. You understand. The mirror is not in control. You are. Now take that understanding and expand it. The world you live in, the conversations you have, the results you get, the patterns you repeat, it is all a mirror, a quantum mirror, reflecting not just your actions, but your identity, your beliefs, your emotions, your frequency. It is tempting to believe that change begins outside, that if the job improves, the stress will fade, that if the relationship softens, the love will return, that if the money arrives, the anxiety will lift. But in the field of quantum creation, the reflection does not lead, it follows. And what it follows is you, not who you pretend to be, not who you wish to be, but who you are, consistently, energetically, unconsciously. You cannot trick the mirror. It does not respond to effort. It responds to alignment. So if you want to see something different, you must become someone different. Not a false version, not a masked version, but a remembered version, the you that already exists in the field, waiting to be chosen. This is not about fixing yourself. It is about tuning yourself, shifting from the version that reacts to the one that creates. Because when your inner world shifts, when you hold a new identity long enough for it to feel natural, reality starts to bend. Not instantly, not always dramatically, but unmistakably. People treat you differently because your energy has changed. Opportunities arise because your field now magnetizes them. Old problems dissolve, not because they were solved, but because you are no longer a match for them. This is why internal work matters more than any strategy. This is why self-regulation, emotional mastery, and belief alignment are not luxuries. They are prerequisites for conscious creation. Because the mirror only knows how to reflect. And when you show up as the version of you who trusts, who believes, who radiates coherence, the world softens, the tension eases, the path opens. So let this become your reminder. To see something new, you must first be someone new. Not someday. Not when life gives you a reason. Now, become the version who already lives the outcome. Speak as them, breathe as them, choose as them. And then, watch the mirror change. Because it has no choice. Now, let us take this knowing even deeper. Into the biology, the energy, the truth of who you already are. Because this power, it was never outside of you. It has been waiting, right here within. You do not need to find the switch. You were born with it. Long before you learned language, before you absorbed fear, before the world told you what was and wasn't possible, you knew. You knew how to imagine, how to feel, how to trust. You did not just believe in magic, you were the magic. And that knowing, it never left. It lives in your biology, in your breath, in the space between your heartbeats. Your brain was designed to adapt. Your heart was built to guide. Your body is a field of energy, constantly broadcasting your state to the universe. This is not spiritual fluff. It is science. It is structure. It is you. You are not separate from the field. You are part of it. Entangled. Connected. An extension of the intelligence that holds galaxies together. Every time you feel joy, you return to it. Every time you choose trust over doubt, you strengthen the signal. Every time you remember who you are, reality shifts to match. So if you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you have been questioning whether you have what it takes, you do. Because this ability is not something you earn, it is something you awaken. There is nothing to add, nothing to chase, only something to remember. The truth is, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are aligning. You are not lost. You are returning to your natural state. Coherence. Intention. Creation. So take this moment in. Let it settle. Let it echo. Because you are ready. Not later. Now. And with this power remembered, it is time to rise. To choose. To activate the version of you that no longer waits. Let us close with one final breath, and a call to action that your future self will thank you for. This is your moment. Not someday, not when the timing is perfect, not when you feel more ready. Now, right now you are standing at the edge of two timelines, one that continues the old story, and one that reflects who you are becoming. And the difference between them is not luck. It is choice. It is vibration. It is alignment. You have seen it throughout this journey. The hidden switch is not something outside of you. It is within your biology, your consciousness, your energetic signature. You have always had it. You have been using it, mostly unconsciously, to create everything in your life. Now the invitation is simple. Use it deliberately. You are not a passive observer. You are not here to react to the world. You are here to shape it. Not through control, but through clarity. Not through force, but through frequency. You are the architect. The one who designs, aligns, and activates. Not because you are chasing some spiritual perfection, but because you are ready to live in resonance with truth. Let this be your turning point. Not because something magical will just happen, but because you have become the version of you who makes it happen. Breathe that in. The field is always listening. Not to your words, but to your state. And now your state is different. You have felt coherence. You have aligned your thoughts. You have elevated your emotions. You have surrendered the timeline. This is the formula. This is the pattern of all transformation. And now it lives in your nervous system. From this day forward you can return to it. Not once, but again and again. Every time you choose intention over habit, presence over fear, identity over circumstance, that is when the shift becomes lasting. That is when the mirror reflects a new version of you, one who no longer waits for signs, but becomes the sign. Let these words land in your body. I am the observer. I am the signal. I am the architect of my reality. Again, I am the observer. I am the signal. I am the architect of my reality. Say it as if your future depends on it, because in many ways it does. Not because you are missing something, but because the world is waiting for the version of you that remembers. And if this message awakens something inside you, a whisper, a spark, a knowing, let it grow. Do not just consume this insight. Live it. Make it your rhythm. Make it your language. Make it your reality. If this resonated, share it. Comment what you are activating right now. Subscribe to this journey, because this is just the beginning. The deeper path is calling. The field is ready, and your next reality is waiting for instruction. Step forward, not as a seeker, but as a creator. Not as a follower, but as an architect. Your future is not something you wait for. It is something you tune to, and you have just remembered how.